are seeing a series of lectures in the subject Agile Methodologies. We will be seeing a topic on crystal methodology. As the contents of the session are, we will be seeing the idea behind the crystal method, in which we will as well see who is the founder of the crystal method, and we will see the key principles used, we will see the key concepts that are used, roles played, number of people involved in the project, the structure of crystal, the colors used in the crystal method, the tools and techniques that are used in the crystal method, and we will see the scope and the output. So, as an initial screen, the idea behind the crystal methodology. It is framed by Alistair Cockburn in mid 1990s. The project success is based on empowering the people involved to make decisions and enhance their work, their skills, their communication and their interactions. Whatever the size and priority of the project is, documentation and any paperwork are to be kept very minimal. Usually in Agile methodology, in Agile software development itself, the documentation is to be kept very minimal. Whatever feature that you are going to develop, only for that you are supposed to document it. Then the main characteristics of crystal is the scaling of project, which is based on the size and criticality. Larger the project is, darker the color is. This crystal methodology will be determined with different colors. So based on the colors, this crystal methodology works. So if the project size is pretty large, then the color given to the crystal method is pretty dark. Then next is the key principles that are used in the crystal implementation. One is frequent delivery, continual feedback, constant communication with the customer from the developer end. From the organization, there should be a constant communication, and the business analyst, he has to do all sort of communication. Then the safety aspects, then the focus is to be assigned to priority items. The access is to be access to the users and automated tests are to be given, and the integration in the projects are to be mentioned. So these are some of the key principles that are used in the crystal implementation. Then next is, let us see the crystal concepts that are required or that are used in this crystal methodology. The project size and criticality. As the project size increases, the criticality ratio also increases. The size is defined as the number of developers involved in the project. Criticality is defined as the damage caused to the system. As the project size increases, the complexity in the crystal method gets increased. The letter C, and as far as this project size is concerned, it is all determined with certain letters. The letter C denotes comfort, the letter D denotes discretionary money, letter E denotes essential money, letter L denotes life. So these are some of the concepts that are available in crystal, and let us see the roles of people working in this kind of crystal methodology. One, the first role is the major role, that is said to be the sponsor. The sponsor is a person who finances the project and delivers the mission statement. The senior designer is a person who maintains the team structure. He implements methodology, he designs the system. The designer programmer is a person who creates the screen drafts, design sketches and notes, common object model, source code, package system, migration code and the test cases. The user helps with the use cases and he screens the drafts. Next is, what are the roles that are merged with the other roles? The business expert, he may come all along with the sponsor. The coordinator role, it may be from the designers. The tester role may be from the designers. The writer role may as well come from the designers. So, here in crystal method, the designer plays a major role. The designer becomes the programmer, the designer becomes the coordinator, the designer happens to be the tester, and he writes the documentation part. He is responsible for creating the manual. Then, so that is the reason we call these roles as said to be the merged roles. Next is, let us see how many number of people who are involved in the projects, in the crystal methodology projects, and what is the notation that is given as far as the crystal method is concerned. If it is clear, which means a team size, a project size should not be greater than 6 people. If it is up to 6 people, then we call such a crystal methodology as crystal clear method. Then if the project size is pretty large, and as far as the other methodologies are concerned, we have many other methodologies such as extreme programming, lean, adaptive software development, so on and so forth. So in those methods we use the team size will be pretty small, whereas in the case of this crystal methodology, which is as well one of the agile software development model, which is as well one of the agile methodology, here the team size is pretty large for both the reasons. The team size is pretty large. The second reason is, if it is large, even the criticality of the project also becomes large. If the criticality of the project is large, then the crystal method is being used. So if the project is clear, then if it is of crystal clear up to 6 people, then this method is called as crystal clear. If it is of if the project size is of 20 people, then it is called as crystal yellow. If the project size is of 40 people, then it is called as crystal orange. If the team size is of 80 people, then it is called as crystal red. If the project size, if it is of a very big project which employs 200 people, then such a method we call it as crystal maroon. It has a color crystal maroon. So here you have two other colors called as crystal sapphire and crystal diamond. This crystal sapphire and crystal diamond are used in very large projects, wherein the size will be more than 1000 people who are involved in one particular project. So such a project will be highly critical. As well, it is useful, this crystal method that uses this crystal sapphire and crystal diamond, which means they are, if it is of a mission critical projects, then crystal sapphire and crystal diamond are used. What do you mean by mission critical projects? If the project is being used for space launching, if the product is being used for rocket launching, then we use this crystal sapphire and crystal diamond. Supposing the project is successful, then it is okay. If it becomes a failure, it leads to potential risk to human life too. If the rocket blasts, then it causes a very huge damage, and that is the reason the mission critical projects, as the rocket launcher projects, you call it as, it is determined with the crystal sapphire or with crystal diamond. Then next is, let us see the structure of the crystal methods. Here, as we have seen in the previous slides, if it is of a clear project with a size of 6 members in a team, project team, then you call it as crystal clear. And here it has been determined with 4 different values. One is called as L determines life, E determines essential money, D determines discretionary money, C determines comfort. So it will become a crystal clear project for 6 members. So that is the reason we are given it as L6. For essential money means it is given as E6. For discretionary money it is given as D6. For comfort money it is given as C6 again. So similarly, for a project size between 7 to 20, we determine it in an yellow color with these four terms: life, essential money, discretionary money and comfort, for a project size of 7 to 20. And this crystal method is determined with between 21 to 40 with a color of orange for the life, essential money, discretionary money and comfort. And for a team size of 41 to 80, it is determined with red color, with again with life, essential money, discretionary money and comfort. If it is of 81 to 200, it is determined with a maroon color. If it is of a mission critical projects with more number of people, more than 500, more than 1000, then it is determined with a sapphire color or a diamond color. So, my dear students, this crystal method is determined with 5 different colors such as crystal clear, yellow, orange, red and maroon. This is very important as far as the questioning is concerned. The structure of crystal method is more vital. The colors represent the project team size, as well it represents the criticality of the project. Then let us see about the colors used in detail. The colors crystal has the fewest defined roles such as sponsor, designer and programmer. So only these three roles are available with this color clear, and if the color is yellow, it is used to manage the additional team size. If the color is orange, it denotes the process that can be illustrated by the activities of one increment which are starting from a requirements document and planning of the next increment and scheduling, revision and review of each of the several iterations. Each iteration in color orange has the activities such as construction, demonstration and review in an incremental fashion. So now let us see which all projects what all colors have been used. So this orange color, this question is also so vital as far as crystal method is concerned. This orange color is used in the medium sized projects. The color red is used in a project that has more checks and which faces the difficulty in balancing the team members. The color maroon is used in a complicated project that has more defined roles. So these are the three colors in that a project uses, wherein if it is of the orange, it is used for medium sized project. If it is of red, it is used for the project that has more checks and that faces more difficult situations in balancing the team members, because a team member may be incorrigible in nature, they may not be supportive. So for those team, and they may be geographically distributed, so for those team this color red has been used. And then this color maroon is used for the sort of complicated, a sort of mission critical project wherein the criticality ratio is pretty high, and this color maroon has many defined roles, unlike your traditional life cycle model. Only in your traditional life cycle model you have defined roles as development team member, team leader, project manager, vice president, delivery head, so on and so forth. Similarly, here in crystal method, if it is of the color maroon, it is used in the complicated projects that has more defined roles. Then let us see the tools and techniques that are used in this crystal method. This crystal clear, it lists the following tools. One is the compiler tool, second one is versioning and configuration management tool, third one is printing whiteboards. Then this crystal orange, it uses few tools such as versioning tool, programming tool, testing tools. Here the testing tool denotes to automatic testing tool, testing tools, communication tools, project tracking tools, drawing tools, performance measurement tools, or the performance measuring tools. Each and every Crystal Orange projects, the performance is measured then and there so that the customer knew what is happening and how critical this project is and what sort of effective measures that the customer has to give to the team member so that the team member solves the criticality at ease. Then next is, let us see the scope in this Crystal method. As far as the scope in this Crystal method is concerned, it defines the project according to the team sizes. In the case of the Crystal Clear, the team size will be maximum between 1 and 6, as we said. In Crystal Orange, the team size it will be 10 to 40. The Crystal methodologies are not mainly suitable for life critical systems, and here what happens is that supposing if I have a team size of 11 members, say for example, can I work with the Crystal Clear? Definitely not. Alistair Cockburn, who is said to be the founder of this Crystal method, he claims that supposing if the project size increases, it is always a better practice to move from the one region to the other region. That is, here the Crystal Clear, Crystal Orange, Crystal Maroon, Crystal Sapphire, Crystal Diamond are all said to be called as different regions. So Alistair Cockburn has formulated or has stated in such a way that if the team size increases, it is not viable, it is not a good practice to be in the older approach. So you are supposed to change according to your goals, your perspectives has to be changed according to the project team size. Then next is, let us see the expected output in a Crystal method. As far as this Crystal Clear is concerned and Crystal Orange is concerned, it includes releases, common object models, user manuals, test cases and migration code. Now let me repeat, what is a release? A release is one wherein small features are released, small workable products are given, and as well small models are given. So that is the reason this Crystal Clear and Crystal Orange, the expected output is to give a common object model. Then in this Crystal Clear and Crystal Orange, it includes or the user manuals are provided wherein, which means documentation is mandatory for whatever work that has been carried out. As far as this Crystal Clear, whatever work that has been carried out in under this Crystal Clear and Crystal Orange. Then test cases are to be drafted, and whatever test case that has been drafted, it has to be stored in the manual as a test manual. And the migration code, what do you mean by migration code? Say for example, when you could take the example of a legacy code, in the legacy system people would have used codes written in COBOL, Rex language, and those codes are said to be legacy codes, and those codes will be converted to a newer code like Python or C# or Java or any other language. So the operations or the results might be possible. It would have been better when working with a legacy code. When it is to be migrated, definitely there will be a code revamp, definitely there will be a refactoring in terms of designing, there will be a refactoring in design. So in such a case, even if it has been transferred from a legacy code to a new code, then the migration has to be taken into consideration. So these two things has to be taken into consideration for the projects which has Crystal Clear and crystal orange. Then the crystal orange, it has the following additional outputs. One is the requirements document, second one is the extensive schedule of the project. What do you mean by extensive schedule of a project? Any project has to be scheduled. So whatever plan, any project has to be planned perfectly, and any plan has to be scheduled accordingly. So those schedules you call it as extensive schedule of the project. Then you need to have the user interface screens have to be made available, and whatever user interface design that has been made, it has to be documented, and the specifications, it should be based on the inter teams. That is the specification, there will be, as I said, your crystal team, the project size is pretty high, it is between 20 to 60 or more than 100, or it is between 100 to 200 in terms of maroon color. So in that case the project size is pretty high. In that case there will be, if it is of 200 members, it will be converted or it will be disseminated into different team sizes. So there should be a specification, there should be a communication between one team and the other team, that is called as inter-team communication. And whatever specification that has been drafted in this particular team has to be circulated to a different set of team, and such a kind of specification you call it as inter-team specification. Then next is about the status reporting. As far as the status reporting is concerned, you will be delivering small features to the customer end, to the client end, and after he approves the working of product, approves the working of the releases that were made, then the reporting has to be done, the reporting has to be carried out, and it should be documented, and whatever report that has been documented, such a report has to be transmitted to all the team members within the team and across the cross functional team. Cross functional team is across different teams, so only people will be knowing like this project has been completed, this work has not been completed, this is what has to be worked upon, this is what has to be this is what since it has been finished, it should not be carried out. So likewise people will be in a position to know things, so that is called as status reporting. Let us summarize whatever we have seen so far. We have seen about the idea behind the crystal method. We saw about who was the founder of the crystal method, Alistair Cockburn. Alistair Cockburn was said to be the founder of crystal methodology, and this crystal methodology is one of the agile software development methodology that has been used in the agile software development life cycle model. And we have the key principles, we saw many different principles that were used in the crystal methodology, and then we saw few of the concepts which are to be noted, which are to be kept in mind as far as this crystal method is concerned, and then we as well saw the roles and responsibilities of people working in the crystal methodology. One of the major role is being carried out by the designer. The designer carries out the role of a programmer, the designer takes part of the or communicates with the sponsor, and the designer communicates or does the business activities. So he does the multifunctionality role or the multifaceted role. So such roles we saw, and we as well saw the merged roles. And apart from the designer role, we saw the role of the important role, we saw it as a sponsor role. We saw what the sponsor is doing, how he should interact, how he should work upon. We saw how a designer should work upon, and what is the difference between a designer and a programmer, as far as this crystal method is concerned. And then we saw about the number of people involved in each and every project. We saw about the crystal clear, we saw about crystal orange, crystal red, crystal maroon, and we as well saw about the crystal sapphire and the crystal diamond. And then we saw the diagrammatic view of the structure of the crystal methodology. And then we as well saw the colors that were used in this crystal methodology. And then we saw the tools and techniques that were carried out or that were made available with respect to this crystal methodology. And then we completed with the scope and the output that are required for this crystal methodology. So, hope this crystal methodology would be clear for you. Thank you.